The Christmas box. Santa was a little stressed. Some children and parents these days ask for so much that even the elves can't keep up. I'm going to have to get some extra help, he said to his wife, Mrs. Claus. For the first time ever, Santa Claus had to outsource. That's what they called it. Getting toys made elsewhere. He didn't like it, but what could he do? Parents had promised so much and he had to deliver. I'm not sure how they find the time to play with all these toys anyway, he muttered as he wandered off to break the news to the elves and the reindeer. Only 6 weeks before Christmas, and even in a country where they didn't celebrate the birth of Christ in such a big way, Christmas was still very important, especially to the people who worked in the global toy factory. This particular factory was making toys for Santa Claus, and as a result the manager in charge was very hot, sweaty and stressed about the deadline given to him for having the toys finished and delivered to Lapland. A few weeks later, over at the factory, some very expensive toys were being carefully placed inside large cardboard boxes with just the right amount of packing material to make sure they arrived in Lapland in pristine condition, ready for Santa and his reindeer to deliver them to children around the world. The boxes came from another factory which made them out of recycled material, so a cardboard box that now had a picture of a very expensive toy on it could have been made from a mixture of old cardboard, waste paper and even the middles of toilet rolls. Even before the very expensive toy in its recycled box was put onto the truck that would take it to the ship, that would then take it to Lapland, it started complaining that it was too hot and not at all happy to be surrounded by a box made out of recycled paper. "You smell," said the very expensive toy to the cardboard box as it travelled in the back of the truck. "And you're stupid," it added. As they sailed across the ocean to Lapland, it continued to insult the cardboard box. "How stupid you must be. You've only been made to protect me, and you're going to travel all the way to Lapland, then to a child whose adults will put you in a rubbish bin or even leave you out in the rain until you turn to mush. Yes, you are truly stupid." The very expensive toy carried on insulting the cardboard box, even when it and the other toys were picked up by the elves and carried back to Santa's grotto. Despite one of the elves banging on the box and telling it to be quiet, the very expensive toy waited until the elf had gone and then started again. It seemed to get more annoyed with the box, especially as the box didn't retaliate. "Aren't you going to stick up for yourself?" the very expensive toy asked in a mocking voice. The box finally spoke. "I'm just doing my job, keeping you safe. I know that boxes aren't valuable or anything, but we do a valuable job, and I don't care if I get put in the recycling afterwards. That just means they'll make another box out of me like they did my granddad and my great-granddad. As long as I'm useful, I don't care." Christmas Eve arrived in Lapland, and the very expensive toy was loaded onto Santa's sleigh with all the other toys. Instead of just enjoying the honour of riding on that very famous sleigh, the very expensive toy simply couldn't stop itself from having another go at the cardboard box. "Not long now, recycle head. Just a few hours and I'll be the centre of attention. Children will marvel at me. Adults will want to play with me too, but the children will say no, wanting to keep me all to themselves. Other children will look at me and wish they had one just like me. Oh, I can't wait." The box said nothing, but thought it would be a great relief to be free of this tiresome, boastful, self-important, very expensive toy. With the Christmas presents all safely delivered, Santa was back home in Lapland with the elves and the reindeer, celebrating yet another successful Christmas presents run. "Phew," he said to Mrs. Claus as he sat down on his sofa, pulled off his boots and started drinking his well-earned cup of hot chocolate. "This has been a busy one. So many extra toys. I'll have to send letters out to parents to try and get them to ease back a bit on the amount of toys children ask for. It's wearing me out." The box, meanwhile, with the very expensive toy inside, was now sat on the floor, along with a number of other smaller boxes, in the largest room of a ground floor flat in a town somewhere in England. Children in pyjamas with sleep still in their eyes were looking at their presents. "He's been!" shrieked a small red-headed girl. "Look, Mum, he's been!" "Yes, and he left me that toy that I wanted," said a larger boy with short brown hair and freckles, staring at the box with delight. Inside the box, the very expensive toy could barely stand the anticipation of being taken out of the box and prized like the amazing thing it was. Come on, get me out of this box, boy," it said impatiently. "See, box, in a few minutes you'll be in the rubbish bin and I'll be played with. I'll be prized like the amazing thing I am. Come on, come on, come on. I'll be talked about. I'll be photographed. I'll most likely film too. They'll probably just rip you up and dump you outside in the snow. Ha 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 ha. The boy didn't rip the box open. Even though he was very excited, he opened it carefully so as not to damage the toy inside. Peering at the toy, he shrieked, "Wow, look at this, Mum!" His little sister, his older brother, and his granddad, who had joined the rest of the family for the present opening. "Look at this, it's awesome!" he said, lifting the toy up and out of its packaging. "Hear that, Boxhead?" said the very expensive toy. "I'm awesome." The boy played with the very expensive toy all morning whilst the box just sat in the corner waiting for Grandad to put it in his shed where it would be filled with junk. By the time Christmas dinner was served in the early afternoon, the boy had played with the very expensive toy over and over again. He'd discovered all of its features. He'd even let his older brother and little sister have a go. He'd phoned other relatives about it. He'd texted his friends about it. He'd had his picture taken with it and he'd filmed himself with it. By the time Christmas dinner was eaten, the table cleared and the washing up done, the boy found he was bored with the very expensive toy. He knew everything about it, everything it did. There was no more surprises and no more excitement. He looked across at his little sister and saw that she'd got bored with her toys too, and was now taking an interest in the cardboard box. She climbed inside it, pulled the flaps down and then jumped up and down and out of it like a jack-in-the-box. The boy desperately wanted to do the same. So he did. He then put the box on his head, pretending to be a box monster, chasing everyone, making them squeal with laughter as he bumped into the furniture. They even persuaded Grandad to get into the box. He pretended to be a robot and the rest of the family gave him commands, which he carried out perfectly before tripping over the cat and landing on the carpet with his legs sticking out of the box while shouting, "Robot down," causing everyone to laugh even more. Mum called a halt to the fun as it was getting very late. The boy and his little sister went happily to their bedrooms, already planning what they were going to do with the box the following day. That night the discarded toys looked at the big, plain, strong, slightly crumpled but happy recycled box in a completely new light, and for once the very expensive toy had nothing to say for itself.